Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is my 2022 Tesla Model Y long range. It's the 7-seat edition, so I've had this for almost a month now, and we've really loved the car, but I want to show you kind of how the 7-seat option works, the third row in the back seat works, because you might want to consider if you're going to order this option or not. Like, for example, we ordered this back in August of 2021. It took us almost a whole year to get this car, and from what I'm hearing, the third row, the 7-seat option, was the big holdup on this car. If this would have just been a 5-seat configuration, we probably would have gotten this a lot sooner. So if you're considering 7-seat, 5-seat, let's kind of talk about how it works and if it's going to fit your needs. All right, so here we are in the interior. So how it works here, this is the passenger side of the vehicle, that's the driver's side. It's kind of a 70-30 split. And these seats will actually, there's a bar underneath each side, so this can go all the way back. When these seats are all the way back, there's a lot of leg room here. There's quite a bit of leg room. So this side, you see here, this side can come forward and back. So you don't have to have both sides, the whole bench up or back. You can kind of customize these seats here, so that's good. If you're going to get into the third row or have anyone in the third row, you pretty much have to have these move forward. You can't have these all the way back, because there's actually no leg room at all when these are all the way back. So let me show you how we get these out. All right, let's move this forward a little bit here. Okay, so on the top of the seat here, there's this little, I guess it's a little button or a latch here. You just push it, and it allows the seat to move forward, and then it will pop up when it gets all the way forward. So that kind of allows access into the back seat, or this third row. So I'm going to get in this third row and just kind of show you what kind of leg room we're talking about. So what we'll do is we'll move this seat all the way forward and show you like the maximum leg room, and then all the way back just so you can kind of see. So climbing in here. This side's a little harder to get into if you're an adult. We have some smaller kids. We have our youngest is 6 years old, and then we have a 10-year-old daughter that they kind of sit back here on occasion. Let's see. So let's close this back here. This actually, you can kind of see, like, your feet on this side, your feet have to fit between these rails, and size 11 shoes they're not doing that too well. Let's see how. When these seats, the second row is scooted all the way forward, you have this is the maximum amount of leg room. So I'm sitting here. I'm actually sitting. Let's see. Okay, it's clicked down. My knees are kind of touching here. Now I'm only 5'8". I'm not that tall, so I could probably fit back here if I needed to for a short distance. I wouldn't want to do a road trip back here. I could probably even. My foot's actually stuck down here. I can't get my foot out. It's doable. I could probably put one foot. Well, I could probably put one foot over there if I needed to. Let's see here. Let's see if I can move one foot over to this. I mean, it's hard to get your feet in here. If you have bigger feet, it's going to be hard. It's going to be kind of a tight fit down there. You can. One thing my kids have been doing. So we have 4 kids. We'll have one here, 2 in the very back, and if you actually lean this armrest, this is like a middle flip down portion. The kids will like even just rest their feet, like put their feet out onto this, so they don't have to worry about the leg room down here. So that's at least an option. There are a couple of we do have USB-C charging down here. We have USB charging ports here, and then we have 2 cup holders, but really it's just a 2-seat option, and then we have headrests that kind of pop up. Headroom, so we're just as far as the headroom goes, I've got some headroom here. Now I'm only 5'8". I'm not super tall, but if you're any taller than that, you might hit your head on your head might be touching this glass roof here. So I'd say people under 5'9" or less could fit back here. Ideally it's going to be kids, and kids probably for while they're under early teenagers. I have a 13-year-old son. He probably won't sit back here, even though he could fit back here. He just complains when he's back here, so we won't have him back here. Let's see how it looks up here in the front row, in the second row, when we have these moved all the way forward. So it does reduce everyone's leg room, second and third row, when you have people in the third row. Okay, it does take a little effort to get out of the back because it's a tight squeeze and you're sitting down so low, but it's nice to have the option, guys. It's nice to have, if you have 6 or 7 people in your family, you know, you might need to have those seats. If you have 5 people, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would do it. I don't know if I would have this option. I don't know if I would wait the longer waiting period to get that, you know, because this second row is pretty comfortable with these seats all the way back. I don't think you need that. All right, let's talk about. Okay, these seats. Okay, the second row is all the way forward. And this seat is about where I would sit in this passenger seat here. And my knees are just, they're barely touching, if not at all. So this is, I could sit here, this is fine. The problem though, when we have our kids back here, and we have kids in the third row, like the kids are just constantly like kneeing the back of the seat, like the driver's seat and the passenger seat. So it's like, that's kind of annoying. When these are all the way back, look at the legroom here, they can't do that. They can't hit this. But when this is all the way forward, they're just like, you know, you got to keep reminding them, hey, stop hitting the back of the seat. The center seat, this is all the way forward. This is a little tight for me. I don't, you know, my shins are kind of hitting this console here. And this seat's leaning back a little bit more. This seat's leaning back a little bit more with this all the way forward. So this one might have to be a little bit further back so that the knees are not touching here. So it does make the second row a lot more cramped. The third row is kind of cramped. So usually we kind of use the third row only if we have to, like it's, you know, we have all 6 of us in the vehicle and we need that extra kid in the very back. A lot of times the kids will load from the back too. I'll show you kind of how we load the kids in the back here. All right, in the trunk, we have the headrests can come up and down really easily. They are shoulder straps, so the kids are strapped in with it's not just a waist belt, a waist strap. It's a full shoulder strap, so they're locked in there pretty good. There's also no vents. There's no vents back here at all. So there's no vent. That's one thing that the Model X. So the Model X that has the third row, they have vents in these C pillars here in the very back to give a little more air ventilation, and the Model Y doesn't. So sometimes we'll lay down this middle seat right here. So this middle seat that folds down, or the middle area that folds down, we'll kind of leave that down, so that way some of those 2 vents in the middle can kind of blow to the very back here. So it is going to get a little hot here. We could put a fan, like a suction cup 12-volt fan. The only power source back here are those USB-C, so it'd probably have to be like a USB-C powered fan if we needed some kind of fan. So here's how these lay down. So there's just these little latches, these buttons on top of the seats. So they're released. It sounds like there's an electronic release, but there's no power fold up, which is kind of, it's not a huge pain, but you can grab this if you pull really hard. Actually, that's hard. You have to lean all the way in and manually pull them up. It's hard to do that also when the second row is pushed all the way back. It's actually touching when this is all the way back. So this is all the way forward right now. That's the second row all the way forward. This is all the way back. So usually when we have these folded down, when we have the third row folded down, we'll have these seats all the way back to give maximum legroom for the second row passengers. But it's kind of hard to it can be a little more difficult to fold this third row up when these are all the way back like that. So it does take a little maneuvering and things. There is some power folding options here in the trunk. So this folds down the second row, but not the third row. So it'd be nice if there was on this side they had third row, that these would just pop up with a button. That'd be a little more convenient. But they are manual folding, and you can do them split. So if we have 3 kids, for example, if we have 3 kids in this row, we could do one here, and then they can just get in through the trunk. We just open the trunk, they crawl in here, they get in there. That way we don't have to do that. It doesn't seem like we even fold down these, we lift these seats up. Usually they'll come in through the trunk here, or they'll pull down this middle seat here. You can just push this latch there, and if that folds down, that folds all the way down. And our smaller kid will just crawl in through there. So there's a couple options. So I'm glad we have the third row. You know, it's been nice that we've been able to use this as like a family vehicle if we all go someplace. It is nice to have that. So I really didn't have much of an option to not do the third row. We really needed to have this as a vehicle we could all use for our family. But if you have maybe 4 kids, if you have like 4 or 5 people in your family, I probably wouldn't do this third row because it wouldn't be as helpful or useful for kids, because it's going to have to be smaller kids that can fit back there, and it's going to get cramped over time as they're sitting there on a long road trip. It's going to get kind of cramped back there. But in the back of the Model Y, there is some pretty good storage. Like when you have the trunk space in the back here is pretty good. These fold flat here. You've got this kind of deep well storage down below, and then you have these two deep pockets here. Kind of see how deep those are. They don't go into this compartment, so they are their own compartment, which probably fit a gallon of milk pretty easily down there. Very easily, yeah. Two in there. We just keep some stuff down there. So it is nice that there is a third row option for the Model Y. I'm glad that we got it. It's just, just know that it's going to be cramped. It's going to be small it's just going to be for small kids, small people to fit back there. I do think that it's not any better than the Model X is also cramped. The X isn't that much bigger as far as the legroom is concerned, so that's not that big of a deal. We've been driving this Yukon XL that's like, a big SUV, and so our kids are, I guess, they're used to a lot of legroom, and so when they get in this and they've got to scoot the thing forward, they complain a little bit, but it really isn't that bad, for short drives and things like that. I don't know if we would take this on road trips or not, and have all 6 of us and then a kid in the back, and I'd probably get a little cramped for them. So anyways, guys wanted to pass that information along on the third row seat. And how it kind of works in legroom and so forth. So hopefully you found that helpful or entertaining or informational. But anyways, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, leave your comment down below. If you got the 7-seat version, what do you regret getting it, or are you glad you have it? Interesting to know what your comments are. So guys, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.